Hello, welcome to the Creators Guild podcast. I'm Chris Howell, and with me,
Jared Lovelady.
and we are here to talk about all things creative. And today, we're just going to kind of go down some little rabbit holes. Jared, how you been?
Doing all right. Not too bad.
It's good. It's good. How was it losing in Munchkin 4 times to me over the weekend?
I won one.
You won one. Michael won two. Michael won a couple. But still, 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
And of the 4 times, 3 times winning with the same level 1 character.
Yes, that was a little frustrating.
So, if you have not played the game Munchkin, we went up and we went to, well, Jared, you had a special event over the weekend.
I did. I had a birthday.
Yep. 1 year older and wiser too. So we went up and hung out with Jared's son for a little bit. And while we were there, Michael was like, we wanted to go to a game store, check out some game stuff. And while we were there was Warhammer 40K Munchkin.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, pretty soon there's going to be, like, Munchkin everything. Like, I don't know what else. It's going to be, like, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory Munchkin, where you have the Oompa Loompas versus the kids, or who knows. Who knows what's it, but I know there's a bunch of different Munchkins out there. But we've got the original Munchkin, played a little bit of that, got back, and I was like, yeah, we need to play Munchkin more. So pulled this out, played with the kids last night. But yeah, when we were up there, Michael wanted to play a game, and the game we found at the game store, because he's, how old's Michael?
He's 22.
Yeah. So young, single, lives with a bunch of roommates. He has a bunch of miniatures. He's got a bunch of like the Warhammer and what was the game
Bolt Action.
Bolt Action.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's
a World War II, but it's the same tabletop kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like Warhammer, but World War II. We had to demolish him in that.
Yeah.
So that was sad for Michael. So we played that, stayed up. I don't know how late it was. We finally went to bed.
It wasn't terribly late.
Yeah.
Maybe 1.
Yeah. It could have been a lot longer. When we played actual Warhammer before,
Yeah.
like that can last quite a while.
Yeah. Bolt Action's a little quicker.
Yeah.
And
so it was fun. We played Bolt Action and stuff, and then the next day, like I said, we went up, saw the World War I museum.
yeah, that was really neat.
Yeah,
Hadn't been there before. I didn't even know it was there.
yeah, me neither.
I knew the World War II one was down in New Orleans. I didn't even know we had a World War I museum.
Neither did I. And the crazy part is, like, I didn't, seeing pictures online and then scheduling and stuff, and then going in, I was like, wow, this must be fairly new. Look how up to date it is and everything, and how, I mean, I have no idea when they renovated.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, it's been there for a long time.
Yeah. What was it? 1926?
It's when the tower, 20 something was when the memorial tower was built.
Yeah. And the memorial tower, was it 217 feet?
No, it was like 250.
Now, it was, because I thought it was 229, and then I think it was 217 feet or something like that above the actual memorial. So you go up there, there's a giant, there's sphinxes on either side with the wings covering their eyes, and they represent hiding your eyes from the horror of war.
Yeah.
And then between the two sphinxes is a giant tower that's 200 and something feet. And you take an elevator up to the top, and then you get to go out and you can see.
It's basically 20 stories.
Yeah.
And it was really cool.
But it's all very Egyptian looking. The color, the stone that was used, everything. It looks like you pulled it right out of Cheops at Giza and teleported it from there to Kansas City, Missouri. So we went up there, climbed up in that, went up in the tower, and it was very bright. Like, how you get snow blindness. You
Yeah.
can get the same thing, desert blindness.
Mm-hmm.
If you're there on a sunny day, you get to experience desert blind. I mean, it is bright.
Okay, we were both close. It's 217 from the base of the memorial to the top.
Okay.
It's 268 from the lawn.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew at first I was thinking like 226 when we were up there, and then we came back down and I was like, oh no, 217. I remembered 217, but I couldn't remember from what point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Sphinxes and the tower are on top of the memorial. So the memorial wasn't long after World War II either when they went in and actually put in the memorial, at least from what I sounded like. So they built the actual memorial underneath the tower, so the World War II dedicated museum below the tower memorial.
Looks like
the tower was what, 1921? Or I think it was started in 1921. They like dedicated it in 26 or something like that. Oh my gosh. I had no idea it was there. I thought it was something new.
the memorial was built in 1926.
Okay. And the tower was built in 21, right? Or no, the memorial is the tower.
Right. The tower is the memorial.
Okay. And then the museum, the museum, they've got, there's a VR experience you can do where you go and it's like you start out, you ride in a balloon, and then in like not a fun balloon ride.
No, it's like
it's
you're
World
in
War
a barrage
II.
balloon.
Yeah.
Or a spotter balloon.
Yeah, you're in war, you're in the battle, and then it transitioned to you're in the trenches. And you can look it up online. It's really cool. You can do the VR experience in the trenches, and then there's another VR experience where you can go and you get this VR thing where they do the wind talkers.
Yeah, that was neat too. That one was real short.
Yeah, it was a lot shorter.
Okay, so the museum actually opened in 2006. So
Really?
the museum part hasn't been there that
Okay.
long.
That makes sense. It's pretty. I think the VR experience is significantly newer than that.
Yeah, I don't know for sure,
But they have they've got.
They got the Field of Poppies, which you walk over. That's neat. You go over a clear bridge.
Yeah, they've got a couple different auditoriums that they play introduce you to how World War II started. Then there's another auditorium that you watch, and it's like as you go around the memorial, it takes you by year. So you start with 1914, where here's what battle was like, right? Or, and what led up to after the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand. And then you go around and it increases year to year to year to year, and then it gets to 1917.
Yeah, when the United States
sinking of the Lusitania stuff, and then there's an auditorium in between, and you watch a video of here's the rest of the world at war, and now the U.S. gets pulled in, and what happened from there. And then you go to the other side of the auditorium, and the rest of the way around. And I'm moving my arm. If anybody watching, I move my arm because it's a big circle. You go around in a big circle, and you come out on the other side, and that's all.
Mostly of the American involvement in the war.
Yeah, and it's not just it's the changes within the war itself on all fronts.
Yeah,
and it's in Kansas City, so has part of it is American stuff. Yeah, it was cool. We did that, and went and had a buffet.
Yeah, buffets are always good.
Yep. And then decided to go to the game shop, and then went to next door to the game shop to the sword shop. So all in all, all in all, pretty good day, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good trip.
But it led us back to
Munchkin.
Munchkin. And again, we played Munchkin, and right off the bat, Jared and Michael lost. I'm not saying I won. I'm saying Jared and Michael lost.
It's better to say you won.
I know, but it's more fun. So they lost, and then they lost again, and then they lost again.
To be fair, you're the only one who's had multiple experience playing Munchkin. That was
That's
only
true.
the second time I'd ever played it.
That's true. That's true. But it is a fun game. So then then it was getting late. So the next day we took because since we went to the sword shop, you had to
Yeah.
get,
Had to get something pointy.
yeah. So Jared got some throwing stars
Yeah.
and a board to throw the throwing stars at. So, and we found out
We suck.
We
Yeah.
all lost. Of like this whole, you watch movies where they're like throwing stars, and I'm like, how many years of practice does it take to actually? And I have no idea if what they were metal throwing stars from a
Yeah.
shop. I mean, they were heavy enough. If you threw it at somebody and hit them, it would definitely do some damage.
Oh yeah.
but
Just
to be able to
picking 'em
just
up,
fling them,
Poked your fingers.
yeah,
Drew blood.
yeah. So we got to do that, and then we played some more Munchkin. And Jared got to win one then, and Michael got to win one, and then they both had to lose again. But this, yeah, there's enough different types out there. Like it's variable, it's fun, and we also have the Rick and Morty Munchkin. And supposedly, you can like take the different Munchkin games and their designs, so you can mix them up and play them together.
Really?
Like I don't know that definitively, but that's something that at least I heard.
I can see that. I mean, some cards are specific to a faction or whatever, but
Yeah, I mean like
but not all the cards are.
like in the original Munchkin, in this one, and this says Munchkin Deluxe, so I assume it's original, just maybe has some more stuff. But this one you have elves and halflings and dwarves and whatnot, and then those are your races, and then you also have classes. So that's where it is in the Warhammer Munchkin. You just had an army. So instead of having elves and dwarves and whatnot, you had what were the, trying to remember what the armies are.
You had Ultramarines,
Yeah,
and Tyranids.
yeah, Tyranids. I kept getting
Orcs.
Tyranids, and I like the Tyranids.
Yeah. Orcs. Death Watch.
Yeah,
And they have expansions to have the Tau and
other Warhammer, other
Yeah.
40K stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, it was this with the original game, like in the 40K game, you have like the Tyranid, and then there are specific things that can apply to the Tyranid. But in this, you can be a dwarf, and you can be a dwarf cleric or a halfling thief. And so you not only get a race of being, or in the 40K version an army, but you also, it would be like in 40K if you could be an ultramarine and then have some kind of a class or something that you're an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
You can be an engineer, and that card, if you get the class card, that engineer, that gives you some other special ability that goes with it.
Cool.
And then there are cards in here that are like, well, you draw this. If you're a cleric, like there's curses
Mm-hmm.
that can be like, if you're an elf, you get this curse. This curse really hurts you. If you're a cleric, it just kills you.
Nice.
Like stuff like there's a lawyer. one of the villains
Mm-hmm.
in this game is a lawyer. And then it says, if you're a thief, the lawyer doesn't actually attack you because it recognizes a kinship. So it's a lot of little fun stuff like that. And then in the Rick and Morty Munchkin, you play as the characters of the Sanchez, or I guess it's Rick's family. What is
Smith is the other
Smith?
name.
Yeah. So you get to play as members of the Smith family or Rick. I don't remember if I don't remember what all the other characters are. Let's see. So this one, there's Beth, Morty, Rick, Summer, Jerry, and then I couldn't remember. If you haven't watched Rick and Morty, there is a character named Mr. Poopy Butthole. So, if you didn't know that, now you do. Yeah, I'm not sure how these would integrate. Maybe not all of them would integrate together, but some of them possibly can, or maybe you tweak the things. But I don't know, game stuff in general, like sometimes when I think about playing games, my brain is kind of like, I don't want to play a game. But once I start playing a game, I like almost always just get sucked in and keep playing. But do you find yourself?
I love
doing that
playing
ever?
games like Munchkin or the other one you got there is pretty
Yeah.
good. Rick
Yeah.
and Morty's anime. What is it?
Anatomy Park.
Anatomy Park.
Yeah. So this one is it is not Munchkin.
No.
It is one of the Rick and Morty episodes is Anatomy Park, where Rick has a friend, and the friend is an old man, and Rick is paying the old man, basically to buy himself booze.
Yeah.
But the reason he's paying him is he has no relatives, he has no life, has nothing going on for him. So Rick pays him so he can build a miniature theme park inside of his body. And it's like Jurassic Park, only the dinosaurs are bad viruses like Ebola and
Yeah.
whatever. They're all in the park. So in this game, you get to go you have to build Anatomy Park. And every time you build something in the park, there's like a risk of something happening because it's like you're building it inside somebody's body. And you may have just disrupted an artery or caused a, like, well, you just caused tumor growth, and now there's stuff that's going to happen. So as the game plays, there's risk of the whole thing collapsing at any point, and you have to get out with the most points before Anatomy Park falls apart. And you're always at risk of being attacked by some form of virus or another that escapes, like the dinosaurs.
Yeah. No, I like games that are clever, but not overly cerebral.
Yeah, stuff that makes you really have to think.
Yeah, because then I'm not having fun. You know.
Well,
I'd like to have to think some.
yeah.
I don't
So,
want it to just be
Is
shoots
it like
and ladders, but
yeah? For you, is it like I would say? I don't like games that have so many rules, so that you have to like remember a billion different things. That's when I think of games that I find less appealing. Those are the type of games that I find less appealing. When it's, well, let's open the rule book, and the rule book is like this thick.
yeah.
You're like, you're not going to remember all this.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, there have been games when I get the box, and I open up the box, and I'm like, this looked like it would be a fun game to play. And I'm like, there's literally 25 pages to explain how to play the game. Like, I don't know that I want to do that.
Yeah.
Because Munchkin has, you have to be strategic. There's chance based on what you're drawing. You got to attack people. The cards you have to play. There's a lot of different rules, but the cards tell you what the rules are. So you only have to remember the fundamental rules of gameplay, and then everything else is actually interacting through the game. But you still have to think and use some strategy, and you get to be creative in attacking and cursing and destroying your enemies, your opponents.
Yeah.
So when you say not too cerebral, what are you?
I don't know. I just games that have to think a whole lot.
Yeah,
I like being able to draw a card and then having to think up strategy is fine.
yeah,
Stuff like that. But where it's overly complicated, I'm not a big fan.
yeah. I think that's one of the things. Like we've done some D&D in the past,
Mm.
and you start building character sheets and doing things, and I don't know. I guess maybe it fits with the idea of you're supposed to be that character, and you're like, oh man, I forgot about these other 10 things that I could have equipped myself with, but I don't. I forgot that they were there. Like, well, if you were actually an adventurer, you were carrying stuff in a pack, you might have forgotten that you had something at the bottom of your pack if you hadn't pulled it out in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, but also, it's like, well, you can't use a fireball, without so many of this, and then to figuring that out. And I'm like, well, do I have a notebook? Do I have something to write all this down so I can remember how many turns has it been and mark, how many of this has it been? How long has X, Y, or Z gone?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I don't mind it in like D&D type stuff. I really kind of enjoy that, but I also don't play a spellcaster.
I don't remember. I don't think I know spellcaster.
Well, like a wizard or a.
Oh, you mean you don't play as a spellcaster
Right.
when you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some games like we've played Zombicide,
Yeah.
and the first couple of times, Zombicide is a fun game to play. I still like going back, but I always, anytime we play it, it's like we're trying to come up with some kind of tweak
Mm-hmm.
to make the gameplay a little bit better, because you get to build a character and use combinations of weapons and stuff like that. But it eventually just comes down to, well, the reality is we're just moving through this maze and we're searching rooms and killing zombies.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's a fun occasional game.
Yeah. You just keep killing zombies. You get done with, oh, we killed a bunch of zombies. You want to play again? Well, yeah, but we're just going to start back over here and try to kill zombies again. And then you do that. Okay, now let's go back to the beginning and start from 0 and then kill zombies again.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just there's not, I guess, you have to be slightly strategic in parts of the game as a team, because you always, you can play single, I guess, by yourself, I guess, or, have a single campaign where you just go through. But there might be some goal that you have to accomplish, but the goal is just like, you got to go to this room and get this tile.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, you just kill a bunch of zombies, because that's the only thing standing between you and that tile, is there are going to be zombies and you have to kill them.
Yeah.
And that's it. Then you get the tile, and then if you have to exit, you just kill zombies and make it out the exit. Try not to you get killed.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I've played it a couple times.
Yeah.
And it was fun a couple of times. It's not a game I can see pulling out once a week or whatever,
Yeah. I mean, if you had some like alternative goal, some kind of puzzle you had to solve.
Yeah. Then it would be more fun.
Yeah. Or if it was like,
or if you leveled up your character and each time you played, you're playing with the same character.
Yeah. And I think that's where D&D gets fun, is you're building and building and building and developing, and going on you have different goals, different adventures, and you can veer off wherever you want at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it this weekend with Michael, because Michael likes D&D. Is a friend of mine who's a DM for D&D campaigns, and one of the things he came up with was, as his group is moving through their campaign, one of the things they were going to come across, and he was like, had it set up to where, like, the path they're on, they're going to see this, and it's this great big, like, giant dome, and the dome just looks like it's all covered in debris and leaves and dirt. This big gray dome that, covered in stuff, but it's a perfect dome.
Mm-hmm.
And what the adventurers don't know is, if you touch the dome, you get sucked in. It's a magical dome. And the reason, like, once you're sucked in, well, then all the leaves and everything and the debris and everything in there with you falls to the ground. Because outside the dome, the world is moving at our pace. But from the perspective of an outside viewer, the dome is moving at a speed of, if a leaf hits the surface of that dome, it might take a year or two for that leaf to fall to the ground. Maybe not, maybe months, a long period of time. Time is different inside that dome. So he had already had it set up. They had their mission they were going to go on. If they touch the dome, their mission is over because
they're stuck in the dome.
They're stuck. Yeah, they're now, I mean, they can get out, but just the time it takes for them to stumble in, and if you fall to the ground and then stand up and then step back out, well, time is moving so slowly inside the dome that time may have been years. And so by the time they figure out what to do and come back out, it's like hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
And so the world's not even the same anymore. So I'm like, he was like, that'll be a good reset. I'm like, I don't know, man. That sounds pretty evil. Because they're built up. They're in the world. They had already had, like, a home base where they had their stuff stashed and everything. Like, they go back. It's all gone. It's hundreds of years later.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, DMs like to do that kind of thing. Michael likes to do that. My daughter DMs. She likes to throw cogs in the wheel, or throw wrenches in the gears.
I don't know if that's a wrench. I think that's more like, let's put some C4 in the gears. We're gonna have it sitting there waiting with an igniter. And if you touch the gears, they're gone. But yeah, we play like Catan. There's the gameplay for Catan. If you just look at it, you're like, oh man, lots of pieces, lots of different things to do, lots of movements and whatnot. Once you get in and play it a time or two, then you're like, oh, well, it's not too difficult. And it's a little bit different every time.
Mm.
And part of it is that chance element of, you're rolling dice to move, and the tiles are in different places every time, and people are selecting stuff. It's a little bit different every time. So you have to have a little bit different strategy every time you play based on what everybody else is doing. And the same thing like Ticket to Ride.
Mm-hmm.
Have you,
Yeah, I played Ticket to Ride.
So there's the different versions of Ticket to Ride. Some of them have subways. Some of them don't have subways. Some have different train mechanisms that require different rules and everything. But you draw different routes every time. And it's like, well, you have to take. You draw a couple, and then you pick the ones, and you're like, you have to take this. Your goal, you have to figure out how to do this. And somebody else might be trying to block you every time. Like, you could say, well, you're just building trains every time. But it's a different setup with a different pathway to get you to your goal every time, and you have to be strategic without giving too much away. But the rules aren't overly complex to where, is you don't have to know the tax code
Yeah.
to be able to play the game. Which made me think of when we were talking about discussing some game stuff. Jared and I, as we've said before, one of the things that we have used as a mechanism, as a tool to help us get out of our own brains, I guess, where we talk through plot ideas and character developments and story arcs, is we go shoot pool.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long ago it's even been. It's been several years ago. I think it's been a little while since we played.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know that I even remember all the rules.
Yeah, neither do I. We came up with our own game of how to play pool, and it requires, without having a pool table laid out that I can show you.
What was it? Three
Yeah, we had.
Three orange balls, three red balls, and three black balls.
It was. Yeah, we have multiple sets of pool balls out in the pool house. So we were able to pick out and be like, you have on one side we had 3 orange balls and a white ball with a red stripe. And then on the other side we had 3 red balls and an orange ball, or a white ball with an orange stripe.
We also had yellow balls.
Or no, it was yellow. Sorry, it was we had 3 eights set out across the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And you have your the dots on either end of the pool table. When you're playing on a pool table that's for like 8 ball or whatever, not necessarily billiards, but where you have the dot that here's where the 1 goes if you're playing 8 ball.
The head string. Yeah.
Yeah. So on those 2 ends you have, so in the middle we had 3 8 balls, and then on either end we had, that's what it was. We had 3 orange balls, 3 solid orange balls, a white ball with a red stripe, and then 2 yellows and a white with a yellow stripe. And then on the other end, instead of 3 oranges, we had 3 reds, and then 1 white with an orange stripe, and then again 2 yellows and a white with a yellow stripe. And the way you play is you pick, you're either orange or red. You're one of, and it could be any color if you have the right one. We were like, we need to come up with our own set of our own colors of balls to play with. But the way we had it set up was you could essentially use regular pool balls and play this.
Yeah.
But you shoot from either end, from behind the head string on either end of the table, and one person breaks from one side and the other person breaks from the other side, and you have to decide when you break, and then after you break you have to decide, are you orange or are you red? And you have to sink all of the, whatever color you are, you have to sink all of the solids of your color before you sink the stripe of your color. And in between, as you're sinking your balls, you can't just sink all your colors in a row. You have to do it sequentially. You have to sink one of your solids first. But in between every one of your shots,
you have to hit a black ball.
You have to hit a black ball. That black ball can then be used to hit something else. But you have to hit a black ball between every one of the shots going after your colors. If you hit your opponent's color first, kind of like if you're playing solids and stripes, 8 ball solids and stripes. If you're solids, you have to hit a solid. You can't hit a stripe. The cue can't contact a stripe first, or it's a scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to at least hit an 8 ball every time. If you sink an 8 ball, if the 8 balls are off the table, then you don't have to hit the 8 balls in between. But the 8 balls come back between every turn unless all of the colored balls are off the table. So they get back and they go into the middle, those 3 places in the middle, every time. So if your turn's over, you have to hit an 8-ball or sink one of your colors, or you can sink a yellow. Yellows are neutral. If all the yellows are off the table, then you just go back and forth between colors. However, if you sink a yellow stripe before a solid, or if you sink your stripe before all of your solids are off, you lose.
Yep. Well, I think we just called it a scratch.
No, I think it was if you sink the cue, it's a scratch. If you sink somebody else's ball, it's a scratch. If you don't hit a black, it's a scratch. The only time you can sink your stripe ball and win is on the break.
Right.
So if on your break you sink the red stripe ball or the orange stripe ball, you win the game. But you have to do it on the break. After the break, that's the equivalent of sinking the 8-ball before everything else in 8-ball. You lose.
That's right.
So, not super complicated. Like everything from there is just you're playing pool. But it's like you've got to figure out your next shot can't be, well, I'm going to try to hit this. Like, you got to sink this over here. And then you're like, but I have to hit an 8-ball after this in between. And all of the 8 balls are over there and my balls are over here. I've got to hit that 8-ball. Whether I sink it or not, doesn't matter. I've got to get the cue back over here to try to sink one of my balls. Because if I don't, or a yellow, So it takes some strategy, takes some skill. Like it took us a while to come up with.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those, you have to think some.
Yeah.
But not too much.
Yeah.
You have to be strategic, but strategy isn't the only point of the game.
Yeah.
Because with the variability of the 8 balls, it can't be. Well, I mean, I guess if you were good enough, it could, but.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, somebody listening to this who's a professional pool player might be listening going, I'd win that game in like one break.
Yeah.
But we're not professional pool tables. We're not professional pool tables, in case you didn't know that. We are not professional pool players. But it was fun coming up with the game.
Yeah. It was a good distraction, nice mental reset.
Yeah. And we were coming up with the rules. We were talking through, we started doing this book 1 and book 2. We had written like outlines and stuff. And then we were trying to go through what are holes in our plots? How do we close them? What character arcs need to change to allow for those holes to be closed without opening up new plot holes? And in the middle of that, it was like, okay, we're stuck. And then it would be, hey, what if in this game we switch and we do it this way? Like, okay, yeah, we got to remember that rule. Or remember that piece of play. And then we'd try it, and then one of us would be like, oh, hey, that plot hole thing. What if we do this? And then we put notes on our whiteboard.
Yep.
I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure that was all the rules of.
I think so.
the
That
game.
sounds like it.
I don't remember anything else.
No,
But,
it wasn't real complicated.
No.
I mean, it sounds a little complicated to try to explain it, but.
The most complicated part was just setting up the balls on the table.
Yeah.
Once you have it set up and you're like, wait a minute. You're either red or orange. Yellow is neutral. You have to sink the solids of whatever color before stripes. You can only sink the stripe of your color on the break or you lose. You win by sinking the stripe of your color. And you have to hit an 8 between every shot at any other ball. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not real complicated. Fun to play, though.
Yeah. How many balls did, because it was, so you had the 3 orange with the red, because the red was always in the middle
15
behind the
balls.
3. Is it 15?
Yeah.
So it's 3,
A full
4,
rack.
5, 6, 7. So 7 on either end. It's 14. So it was 17
Oh,
balls, not 15.
where did I miscount?
I
You
know
got you got 4 reds, 4 orange, 4 yellow.
there's yellow on both ends. That's why.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 yellow, there's 6 yellow, not 4.
Ah,
Because you have, yeah, I'm pretty sure wasn't it 3? I'm trying to picture the pool table in my head now. We had 3 8 balls in the middle, and then you had 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. Because it made a triangle, so there's got. I think I'm off on something.
there were 3 red balls. If we go red, 3 reds, solids,
Yeah,
and
but that makes a triangle of 3
there must have just been 1 yellow and 1 yellow stripe.
on either end.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was so orange, 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 and then yellow solid, yellow stripe, red stripe. And then on the other end, red, 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 yellow solid, yellow stripe,
Yeah,
orange.
I think so.
Or white with orange stripe, orange stripe.
Right.
Because it was a triangle every time.
Yeah.
So that would be six balls on either side.
Yeah, so 15.
And then 3. So yeah, so just 15 balls. But you could set it up if you figure out, it's kind of like playing what the heck, where you have 3 people playing and you're 1 through 5.
Oh, cutthroat.
Yeah, if you're playing cutthroat, as long as you can set it up with 15 balls, you just set it up kind of like cutthroat, where it's these number, if it's in groups of everything's in, you have 2 groups of 4. No, 3 groups of 4. You have 3 groups of 4 and 1 group of 3. That's it. So you'd go like 1 through 4, with 4 being the stripe, and then 5 through 8, with 8 being the stripe, and then 9 through 12 are your neutral, and then 13, 14, 15 are your in between, that you have to hit a 13, 14, 15 in between. So yeah, you could play. You don't have to do the color, but it is nice.
Yeah, the colors make it.
It's really nice to have the multiple sets of balls to be able to divide it up by color. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and since we had plenty, because I had 3 sets of balls, and you had, I don't know how many.
Yeah, I think I've got 2 out there, something like that. I don't know, but the other reason we said if you use like regular billiard balls, they're colored. You have, different games of billiard, but you have like red, pink, white, and black.
Yeah,
I think
maybe blue.
Maybe blue are stamped, but they're not numbered.
No, they're just balls.
Solid colored balls. So you could use billiard balls if you had 15 billiard balls with colors grouped in 4, 4, 4, and 3. Then you could set it up as with billiard balls and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get creative with all kinds of stuff.
That's right.
Include, like we're gonna play a game with throwing stars. But yeah, I wonder sometimes how much like playing different games influences what I end up having ideas for stories about, or movies or whatever, because we've come up with movie plots and whatnot, and I'll think of things all the time. I'll be like playing Munchkin, and then I'll be like, hey, what if there was another game that you had to do blah 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 blah, a little bit different, and then that might turn into, oh, if that was a game, what if you turned it into a story, and the story was about the whatever. Like all the time, stuff like that happens all the time. So it makes me wonder how much influence from different games I've played and other stuff I've done that are actually like none of Tawara and Athandra and Alandar, none of it's original.
No. we're influenced by everything we do, everything we see,
Yeah.
you know. So
It would just,
it's just the ability to take all those influences in your head, all those ideas, and put them into a coherent story. That's where the talent lies.
yeah.
Talent or hard work or whatever.
Chaos, insanity. I don't
Yeah.
know. Pick your label. But it would be interesting if there was some way to quantify that and to measure, like some measurable thing of, well, how much are you actually influenced by this? You know, how much is your story? Does it appear to be influenced by Star Wars or Star Trek or Babylon 5 or Labyrinth or Neverending Story or Conan the Barbarian? You know,
Yeah.
if you took all of those that I just listed and put them together into one story, what would that be? That would be interesting.
Be chaos.
Right. So let's, well, I don't know. Maybe Star Trek actually covers all of it. Because I can think of episodes that would be like, okay, well, there's your Conan the Barbarian episode. The, like, maybe something along the lines of the Wrath of Khan.
Mm-hmm.
You get a little 80s big hair, you know, muscly, strong, whatever. You got so Star Trek, Never-Ending Story. Was there anything that could be a flying dog dragon? Star
I don't
Trek
know. That might be a stretch.
somewhere.
But there might be something in there. You know, something somewhere.
I'm sure there's got to be something. I mean, RoboCop, you got cyborgs all over the place. I don't know what, you know. Star Trek's been around a long time. The cyborgs, or the Borg,
Yeah.
have been around a long time. You know, but the guy who wrote RoboCop be like, wait a minute, the Borg. What if the Borg was on Earth? You know, they were like cyborg things, but they were cops. Yeah, cyborg cop. You know,
Yeah.
and they wanted like all the cops to be that, but they had to have human brains. They couldn't just be robots. They had to have a human brain in there. I don't know. It's yeah, it's interesting to think about how much is original ideas. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I've wondered, I've pondered on in the past. Let's go back to 200 AD. Did people, how many people just sitting around came up with stories of things? You know?
Well, here's the thing. They came up with stories of things they were familiar with. So those ideas weren't new either. And as time goes on and we're exposed to more things, stories expand. And
I mean, like,
originally someone had an original thought.
yeah, I mean, somebody had to have an original thought at some point.
But again, those thoughts were influenced by their surroundings.
Yeah.
So maybe there isn't such a thing as original thought.
It's like the Lion King. That's one thing I really like in the Lion King, when they're laying on their backs looking up at the stars. And then Simba is like, somebody's like, I don't remember which one. It's Pumbaa, I think.
The balls of gas.
It's like, what do you think those stars? What do you think stars actually? What do you think those are? And Timon is like, I think it's burning balls of gas, billions and billions of miles away, way out there, and then, or Pumbaa says that, and then Timon is like, yeah, it's you, everything's gas with you, Pumbaa. And then Simba's like, well, it's my aunt, it's the, he said, I don't remember, I think he says my ancestors.
I think he says it's the spirits of the kings or something like that.
Something like that. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. If I was Timon or Pumbaa, I'd be like, why do you guys get stars? And then he's like, I think it's a bunch of fireflies that flew up and ran into that big black thing and got stuck.
Yeah.
But go back to 200 80 out in the plains somewhere where there's a sheep farmer and they raise sheep and they lay down and they look at the stars. What the heck did they think? You know? Did any of them ask, what is that?
They were just lights.
You know?
Somebody asked because somebody looked harder.
Yeah, I mean, somebody did eventually, but think about the millions of people who didn't ask, who maybe like, what are those lights stuck up there in the black? Like, is that the sky? When the sun goes down, is the sky still there? Like, it goes from blue, and then we see the colors change, and then it goes to blackness. And some nights, when there aren't, like, if you're out in the middle of out in, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to, it could be anywhere. You're in Kansas, what is today Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
You're in those plains. There is no light pollution. There's no, and on some nights when it's really heavily clouded, like on the verge of storming,
Mm-hmm.
there is no light. Like, it's like being in a cave.
Yeah.
You know, you have the new moon, so there's no moon. The sun is not reflecting light to Earth at all. There's stars, but they are behind miles thick of heavy clouds. And you're out in the middle of, like, you can literally see nothing except what your fire can provide.
Yeah.
If you put the fire out and you're literally like, I might as well be in a cave. There is, like, there's no ambient light.
Well, that's when people turn to, mythology and religion, and
Yeah.
that's where all that stuff comes from.
I mean, imagine like
Ways to explain the unknown.
the first time you ever stepped outside at night, your tent is pitch black, whatever you're sleeping in, or whatever shelter you have. Maybe you live in a cave and you're like, oh, it's so dark. And then you're like, wait a minute. I thought I walked outside of the thing that I was in. How is it still dark? And you've never experienced that before. Because you always step out, there's always stars.
Mm-hmm.
There's stars and a moon, whatever. And the first time you ever experience stepping outside to total blackness, are you just like, the end has come? What's happening?
Well, I mean, that's why you think, solar eclipses were such a big deal.
Yeah.
Before they understood that.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, the world is going to end. The sun is blacking out. What is that? Like, because you wouldn't think, oh, the moon's going in front of the sun.
No.
You'd be like, something's, what is that? Why is the sun going dark? And then you, like, a few years later, you'd be like, oh no, why am I now blind? I don't know. Anyway, it's just interesting to think about. We've from not knowing like anything to now we play Munchkin on these printed things and we speak into this electronic mic and we're trying to build rockets to go to Mars.
Yeah.
And we know what Mars is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just, it is really, really, to me, really interesting to consider thinkers of the past.
Mm-hmm.
And to think, to question myself and say, if I lived that long ago, I'm sure a lot of people questioned, but would I theorize? Would I come up with some idea of what I thought explained the world around me? Would I have the ability to come up with something that wasn't, I'd say that, to come up with an idea that wasn't like a high elf princess?
Yeah.
Like, how would you even, who did that? That's what I mean by the creativity thing is, the sheep herder sitting out in the middle of nowhere, who has virtually no interaction with almost anybody except maybe a few family, and maybe they all died when he was young, and then he got a little bit older. met some other person, would they even have the idea of, I'm going to tell you something that isn't? Why?
Yeah.
For entertainment. I mean, the concept of being entertained, the concept of being bored,
Yeah.
you know? Like, if you jump back in time, what do you do all day? I move the sheep around and then I sit over here. Like, when you're not moving the sheep, oh, I'm getting food. When you're not getting food, I'm eating. Well, you're not doing that, I'm sleeping. Well, what if the sheep are taken care of, and the food is taken care of, and the shelter's taken care of, and the water's taken care of, and then you just pause for a little bit? What do? Like, well, I got to repair my socks. Because I came up with this idea of these things that go on your feet, and they're soft, and I'm going to call them socks. But after I came up with them, I got a hole in one. And now I have to repair them. I think we talked about it before, the movie The Invention of Lying.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to explain to somebody, and he's like, I said something that isn't. And it's like, the concept doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At some point in the past, somebody had to invent the concept of lying.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was pretty quick.
Yeah. It was the first time who broke the clay pot? Not me. And then, wait a minute. What was that? That was something that wasn't. I said something that isn't. Isn't what? Isn't what it is. You're talking in circles.
Yeah.
Who broke the pot? That's all I care about. Yeah. And now we play Munchkin and Anatomy Park and Ticket to Ride.
Now,
Settlers. And
you know,
Warhammer 40K.
some people spend as much time as possible in what isn't.
Yes. I mean, a lot of people spend as much time in things that aren't or isn't or something.
Whatever.
Yeah. And it's fun to be there. It's fun sometimes to be where it isn't. I think we're really falling into Alice in Wonderland here. Well, if you haven't played Munchkin, for listeners out there, if you haven't played Munchkin, if you haven't discovered that game, you should go play it.
It's a lot of fun.
We like it. And maybe at some point we'll be famous authors and people will want to come see us, and you can bring us a game of Munchkin, and maybe there will be Duradim, Chronicles of Duradim Munchkin. You'd be like, I played Tawara. Awesome. Good for you.
That'd be excellent.
Bring it in and we'll sign it. Maybe we'll play a game. Maybe we'll play Duradim Munchkin. We can talk about what isn't. Well, thanks for coming with us today. Thanks for coming down a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of I don't know, just fun talk.
A little philosophical there at the end.
Yeah, just a little bit. But we appreciate you coming along for the ride once again, and we will see you next time. Till then, go in good spirits. Thanks for listening to the Creators Guild podcast. Don't forget to get your copy of A Flight from Shadows, available on Amazon. While you're there, please rate it and give it a review. If you like the Creators Guild, please like and subscribe, and make sure to share it with your friends. Until next time, go in good spirits.